In the lake, an environmental nuclear bomb looms in Utah. Two intrepid scientists and a political insider race the clock to save their home from an unprecedented catastrophe. The Lake is directed by Abby Ellis, and this film is her second feature after Shots Fired from 2021, and The Lake debuted at the 2026 Sundance Film Festival. Watching this documentary, it must feel, the people who are the focus in this documentary, the scientists and the political insiders, they have a mix of, every day is different for them. They feel hopeful, they feel down, they feel negative, they feel positive. They have good news, they have bad news, and that's kind of what it feels like watching this documentary, because if scene by scene you have different feelings as to what the information you hear and the attitudes of people. So this film is at times inspiring, hopeful, and it makes you feel down, makes you feel up, makes you feel hopeful. The film focuses on three people. We meet Ben Abbott, who is a scientist who is really the leader in Utah of getting the message out there of the Great Salt Lake City in Utah is running out of water, and within 5 years, if something isn't drastically done, if the funding doesn't come, then that lake will cease to exist. There's also a microbiologist, Bonnie Baxter, who in the film is mainly focused on the species of animals who rely on this lake to survive, and the deaths of all these animals who rely on this lake. And there's also a political insider, Commissioner Brian Steed, who has the difficult task of meeting a variety of different people in this film, politicians, farmers, and just trying to find the common ground between everybody so he can get the message out there as well. And they all three of these people, they all live in Utah. They're all experiencing the downside effects of the lake. It's not just that the lake is going to cease to exist, but this lake there is some sort of like dust from this lake, and then anytime there's a storm from the lake, this dust gets pushed miles and kilometers into the state, and this dust can have a very bad effect on the health of everybody who lives there. And basically what these three people have to do in this film is not to get the message out there as much as they possibly can, but also they need funding, and that's a battle throughout this whole film. It's just them trying to come up with a figure that will be digestible by politicians and people who will fund their research. So that's one of the drawbacks in this film is just the lack of funding. But there's so much involved in the lack of funding, and then there's like anti-climate activists who think this is blown up. Nothing's going. The lake's not going to blow up. The lake's not going to cease to exist in 5 years. It's just hyperbole. And then there's like politicians. Like there's a very key scene about halfway through the film where Brian Steedy introduces an old college friend, a governor, politician, and introduces him. This is a great man. I used to go to college with him, and then he shares him, and then this governor goes on stage and says, "Oh, this like all they're saying is bullshit. All they're saying, all this scientists is not true. There's no such thing. The dust is not going to kill us. The lake is going to be still there in 5 years." And then just a look on his college friend's face and the scientist's face, and it's just the governor, even though he might believe his friend, it's just not sexy. He's not good. You're not going to get revoted. You're not going to get voted into parliament if you say negative things. So he has to keep saying a positive spin to get the vote. So he has to like go back against his what he believes in just to be a successful politician. So, but the film in the final third of the film, final half an hour of the film, does get quite hopeful. Eventually, everybody involved in this film is able to get the funding that is needed. They're able to draw conclusions and research from other countries where similar lakes in other countries that have ceased to exist were never able to be recovered. So in the years leading up to those lakes in other countries ceasing to exist, scientists and environmentalists were not able to recover those lakes. So, and this is literally like 0%. So that kind of research really helped to gain the funding that they needed. And also the people who live in Utah, they're starting to think that the politicians and the government are not doing enough for their environment, because they themselves are experiencing health issues relating to this lake. So, and they have a negative view of what the government is doing. So eventually the government does come around and fund what is needed for the scientists in this film. So ultimately, what the most positive thing to say about this film is, if you stick to your guns, it just the slow fight. If you be patient and just keep fighting, then it's some kind of environmental issue, climate change issue in a particular part of the world, then eventually you get hopefully you'll be successful. I give The Lake 3.5 stars out of 5. This is a very interesting film, very entertaining documentary, well made, and it really focuses on 3 people, 2 scientists and a political advisor, who are quite inspiring to watch throughout this film. But you get a whole mix of emotions watching this film. Sometimes you feel up, sometimes you feel down, positive, but hopefully it does end up on a hopeful note, and the environmental people in this film are able to get what they needed. So hopefully this is a film that can inspire other people around the world to take action. Thanks for watching. What do you think of The Lake? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.